This is AI Studio, where top-notch experts analyze the latest trends of artificial intelligence. I'm your host, Leventa. Let's get started. In the era of the experience economy, brands are forced to monitor and follow up on customer feedback more than ever before. Social listening is a cutting-edge AI-driven method that helps achieve that, thanks to automated text analysis. Neticle, a Hungarian tech startup, focuses on media intelligence services, so we asked them to give us an overview about the dynamics of social listening and related trends. So here we go with yet another episode of AI Studio, right from the headquarters of Neticle. And I've got the pleasure to talk to founder and CEO, Péter Szekeres. Thank you so much for being here with us, Péter.
Yes, it's always a joy to share some insights and stories to people who are interested in AI, so I'm glad to be here.
Right on. Today we're dealing with a special area of artificial intelligence, that is automated text analysis. And now the idea is to find out how all that works and what you can get out of it. So let's just cut to the chase. Why don't we just start with the very basics? What's the basic concept here actually, Péter? Can you please tell us how you actually use AI in your work, and how is that helpful for your clients?
Yeah, just to get the basics of automated text analysis. So usually the goal is here that we have text data, one document, one contract, or a huge amount of customer reviews or text, and we want to get insights, human level precision insights, basically automated. So this is the vision, the super goal for text analysis. The big thing is here that we are basically working with usual data mining and data algorithms as a prediction, but we have to do some pre-processing steps and some pre-processing jobs basically. So this means that the typical text analysis task is to do a categorization, whether we are talking about positive or negative opinion, or what we are talking about the text. We are talking about a latest smartphone, a new television, a reputation of a politician. So this is something we have to recognize automatically. But to put it in a big picture, text analysis is coping with any kind of text data. And usually there are two cases. We have one document and we want to get out useful information. Persons who are making the contract. Do we have punishment or confidentiality is handled where in the contract? This is an example. What dates are in the contract and etc. This is like of information extraction. And then we have the other category where we have a bunch of documents and we want to do something automated. We want to categorize the emails to the right person. Is this about billing? Is this about new functions? Is this about an information request? So this should be recognized automatically. So text analysis is about, let's say, speeding up the reading and doing this stuff automatically. Basically, I believe it's one of the most useful areas in the, let's say, in the governmental workflows, public administration, and for big corporations and for companies who are working with lots of clients. So listening and understanding the users, the needs automatically, so we can be more focused. I know this is more like a mission statement, but this is the real goal of text analysis.
Right. So as you just mentioned, the crucial element here is to detect emotions, right? Because that's what it all comes down to. Maybe sarcasm is also part of the game. Is there any way to measure that?
Yeah, let's step one back. So
okay.
Usually the primary goal is to have some kind of sentiment. Sentiment is crucial in text analysis. This is the basic task to determine if a review is positive, negative, or neutral. There are many good solutions to handle that, but we can score it or just categorize positive, neutral, negative. It seems very simple, but it's not, of course. Mostly because of the unusual phrases like negation, double negation. Handling this in sentiment analysis is one of the biggest challenge because sometimes negation is shifting the polarity, but sometimes it's not. So it depends on the context and the special format, especially in Hungarian language, which is super free, super lots of suffixes, so very interesting. And this is one part, to handle the negation. If you're not handling negation, it means that the positive doesn't become negative,
Right.
So it's a big error. This is one thing. But the other thing is handling the emotion. So why the sentiment is 3 basic categories. Emotions are usually, there is not one big emotion categorization system. So there are usually 6 or 8 emotions. Usually 2 or 3 of them are the positive emotions and the others are the negative ones. But I have seen a study which was working with 27 different kind of emotions. So emotion is basically should be set up based on the business need what we are working with.
Right.
And the hard thing in text that emotions are sometimes expressed with exact phrases, special suffixes, special word order, or special marks like many question marks or emojis or emotion icons. So this is something we have to put into the picture, not just the meaning. And of course, irony, which is the hardest when you don't have the context. So sometimes you just process a tweet, you don't know what is around it, who is around it, and determining irony is quite hard. What the current technologies can do, that they either find your usual attitude, and based on that, it can determine the possibility of irony, or it is such an irony that basically it's an ironical phrase or context anyway. So it's more like a proverb or something like that. What we are dealing with, but I think this is enough for many cases. So irony is interesting and always a challenge. But to be fair, if you want to give an informative review in the App Store, you're not gonna be that ironical because you want your problem to be solved.
Right. Actually, I've been just thinking about like real world scenarios. Like, let's say you just go to a hotel and you're super unhappy with pretty much everything, and you just leave a very negative comment. But most of the time, the service provider just replies in the comment section, and they believe the matter is settled. So right now, I assume we are beyond this, right? Service providers need to do more than just reply in comment sections.
Yeah, basically, when we are working with many service providers who receive usually negative feedback. So let's be clear about this. When somebody posts an opinion about a service, in many cases, basically 70 or 80% of the time, it's about a negative or a critic, an exact critic. Because we are not writing down that I am happy with the 4G coverage. No, we are writing down when we cannot open the Spotify or the app, So we have problems which we share there because we want to be listened and heard. But if the company doesn't have an exact solution nowadays, it's more like PR and communication strategy that you cannot do anything. So it's a simple answer that, okay, we're going to take care somewhere in the next 2 years to have coverage at the Balaton for the phone thing. That is not a solution. Everybody knows that. But if there is a quick win, like, sharing an information, sharing something that is already on the roadmap or not a business confidential thing, that is something users appreciate. So honesty is important in social media. And if there is a rightful complaint and there is a correct and impactful solution, that generates not just a problem, but nowadays a good reputation that everybody knows that businesses are not perfect. People are complaining, especially on Twitter. There is a culture for that. And when they are receiving even from the C-level persons of the company, we know that Tesla is more like, and Elon Musk is more like a Twitter PR star, but actually they are doing this part right, that they are sometimes reflecting to problems. And companies should find these complaints as fast as possible. And if there is a good way to do something, then they should do something. The difference is when we have a crisis, when we have a big thing that cannot be easily solved. I don't know, a big outage, for example, or there is some crazy situation. That case, the most important thing, and this is what we are doing partly with the help of our solutions like social media monitoring and social listening, that finding the public publicly available problems and showing this to the company representatives as fast as possible, basically 5 to 10 minutes after it happens. And then they have enough time to decide, okay, we cannot do anything, let's just leave it here. Or this is totally something that is not true. So even we can do legal steps to stop it or ask for removing the content. Or we can just tell them that, guys, yes, we admit that there is a problem. We are sorry. Everybody is working hard on it. Probably by tomorrow you will have it. For example, we had a similar situation with Azure, which is a great cloud. Normally there is no outage, but there was a strange situation that something happened one day. At 3 o'clock, we found a tweet that there was an outage in the cloud service, but they were responding to the tweet that, guys, we are sorry. I don't know, hundreds of engineers are working on it. Probably next morning, everything will be fine. So we know what is going on. Of course, we were not happy, but we understood that situation is a situation and they know it, they're working on it, and they will update us.
What about positive impact? What about positive input, actually? Because I believe it's not all about negativity, right?
Yeah, it's not all about, but there are many studies that have proven the setting that negativity spreads the fastest way in the social media, and even the anxiety so rage is the fastest speeding emotion in social media. So rage is like spreading ahead. This is a setting we have to learn to handle it and not be involved too fast, even if we are seeing some potentially fake news. Maybe it's not true, just somehow affecting our emotions and getting us involved. This is a very, very dangerous thing to understand, and people have to learn that social media, they have to think and not act based on instinct. So this is a bad thing or not a bad thing, this is an attribute of the social media. Positive things are there as well. So I like that, not just PR things in positive, but let's say if there is a good story about a company, good story about a person, somebody, daily heroes, everyday stories, CSRs, climate heroes. So these are topics that are working well on the social media. People are liking it, having great interaction, generating a positive effect and people. It's good that also companies are interested what generating the positive buzz, but let's be fair, many cases, these are more like customer support and customer complaint management if we are thinking about a B2B company. If we are thinking about a person, an influencer, a celebrity, which is basically means equally that having lots of followers on either or all of the social media platform, that's nice. But let's be fair that many cases, if they want extra attention, they are just putting around a naked picture or doing an announcement which is super negative or something is not that thing, because that generates the engagement, for example.
Yeah, I want to talk about the celebrity effect a little bit later too. However, there's one thing you just mentioned, that how fast actually rage and negativity can spread on social media, and this applies obviously to things that are widely shared, that are publicly shared. However, there's another trend that people actually try to take a step backward and kind of hide in private groups. They're not willing to share their opinions, and they just want to discuss certain things in a private circle. Just take Instagram threads and the like. Is there anything you can do about this, or is there anything your clients can do about this? And I really believe they're sort of worried that what might be going on in all those back rooms,
Yeah, everybody is super curious what's going on and what people are talking about. But let's make this clear. So I think the thing what we are doing is social listening, for example, that we are listening to publicly available social comments and help companies to learn about this. So this is, I think, a good purpose. But of course, you can use a knife to cut your dish, and you can use a knife to hurt people. So, it always depends on the people who wants to use it. But social listening, according to my understanding, it's about helping clients with undirected opinion. So what you are talking, what is your real opinion without asking you, because companies can learn from that you are interested, you appreciate this function, you not appreciate or doesn't give a think about some features in connection what others think it's important. So this is I think the mostly important in social listening. So what we are talking to our clients, that guys, if somebody don't want to share their opinion with you, you shouldn't take care. I mean, you are asking them, you are listening to public opinion on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. This is your platform. You should focus on these two forums. If somebody wants to go to a private group to discuss and having part of a community, and it's not owned by you, because there are some companies who are owning these groups, basically managing the group and driving the conversation, that's a different situation, but let's leave them alone. So what we are saying is that using opinion what is available and ethical, of course, it can be scraped. I mean, I can write a code and download these things from Facebook. It's not a big thing, but it's not ethical to use it. So what I always say is that going private and hiding from the eyes, it's your legal right, do it. But if you want your opinion to matter, then
right,
you should go to Twitter, Facebook, and just do a public post. And
exactly,
probably you will be listened and learned, and nobody cares that you are János Kovács. They are not interested in the exact person. They are interested in the opinion. So, looking for the 10 mostly mentioned pain points, and let's select from the 10, the 3 ones which we're going to fix in the next month. This is this simple how to improve the service, because we are in the experience economy. So in many industries, it's not the difference that what is the pricing package or the color of your menu, but the experience, how effectively you are listening to customer needs and complaints. This is what is making the difference in many sectors, in banking, in insurance, in telecommunication, because there is no more space for price competition. It's space for experience, managing the customer experience, serving their needs and reacting. And this is what about. I mean, this is what I believe in as a mission for text analysis and social listening.
All right. I guess that's all we've got before the break, but don't go away. We'll be back with more insight on why influencers matter in social listening, how the whole thing works in a video-dominated environment. So, see you in a bit. European Union leaders are considering a ban on the use of facial recognition in public spaces for up to 5 years, until safeguards to mitigate the technology's risks are in place. The EU's new leadership, which took office in December, announced it would initiate legislation for AI technology within its first 100 days in office, hoping to make the bloc the first region in the world with laws for the emerging technologies. As a first step, Brussels will release a white paper in late February, spelling out different options on how to proceed. Afterward, the EU will spend months collecting feedback from the industry, civil society, and national governments, according to officials involved in the process. Hard laws are not expected by the end of the year. Artificial intelligence programmers are developing bots that can identify digital bullying and sexual harassment. Known as #MeToo bots, after the high-profile movement that arose after allegations against the Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein, the bots can monitor and flag communications between colleagues, and are being introduced by companies around the world. Bot makers say it is not easy to teach computers what harassment looks like, with its linguistic subtleties and gray lines. The bot uses an algorithm trained to identify potential bullying, including sexual harassment, in company documents, emails, and chat. Data is analyzed for various indicators that determine how likely it is to be a problem, with anything the AI reads as being potentially problematic, then sent to a lawyer or HR manager to investigate. Warner Brothers will use AI to help make decisions on movie releases. Algorithms won't have the final say, though, on whether or not a movie goes forward. Rather, this will help the studio predict a movie's revenue, gauge the value of stars, and determine when a title should premiere. Studio execs would ultimately have the final say, but the AI could help determine whether a movie is treated as a summer blockbuster or early in the year filler material. The system is for low-value, repetitive tasks that can waste executives' time, so, like with many forms of automation, it could eliminate much of the drudgery behind the production and let people focus on the creative aspects. Great to be back, guys. We can now continue our conversation on AI-based media intelligence solutions with Péter Szekeres, founder and CEO of Neticle. Up to now, we've covered a few aspects of media intelligence and how all that works, but there's a lot more to talk about. We mentioned the experience economy and how it's so important for companies to take into account what their customers think and what they might complain about. Now, therefore, it's so crucial how fast they actually respond to these needs. Can you share us some of your experience on this reaction time of companies and how they actually do turn this customer feedback into action?
Yes, I can think about 3 different levels for reacting on what is going on in the public social media. So I'm emphasizing the public part. There is the crisis situation. Basically, not just we, any other media monitoring solutions has a kind of breaking news or alerting functionality. Basically, if somebody says something negative about your brand, you can receive an immediate email alert that a negative public discussion is going on in connection with your brand. Probably you want to join, want to offer a solution or handle it. This can be done within 15 minutes. So the negative mention is recognized automatically and an email sent to the social media manager, who is probably an agent of the company, who is well educated and authorized to give a solution or give a right answer. That is really nice. We are doing this with big companies who have lots of clients and changing environment and changing regulations. So it's important. There is another part when we are kind of providing bundled bundled reports, like collecting the last week's all customer feedback. The best example here is the digital transformation and the related mobile applications and new online interfaces, when there is usually continuous delivery, so weekly rollouts for the new features and the new versions, many times weekly. So it's very important what were the main complaints last week and what are this week. So what was changed? Did our effect and the new features solved everything that was an important issue? And of course, what are the new issues? So is there a new trending topic for example, in the Google Play and the App Store reviews automatically? And this is what really helps the product managers and the Scrum teams or the Agile teams to focus on the right things. And this can be, really
or
fast.
Or the customer experience officers.
Of course,
if there's one.
Yes, it depends on the level. Usually, when we are talking this weekly level, it goes directly into the product team. When we are talking about monthly or quarterly, more like strategical level, then it goes to the C-level, the customer experience officer, or somebody who's responsible for the clients and the customers. So it really depends on the level, on the level of the authorized person, which we want to support with data-driven decision. What I really like in text analysis, that it gives a new dimension to the data-driven decision support. So you are now not just saying that my gut feeling is that we should do this, but you can say that I have an idea that we should do this, and based on this small data or smart data set or even big data set, this is why I think it will be a good thing. So you can underline your decisions, or you can see right away that no, it's a wrong idea, it's a wrong decision, because the data shows something totally different what you want to do. And this is when we are doing, let's say, a yearly analysis on what are the latest trends in heating or renewable energy. So how customers understand the benefits and non-benefits. For example, this was a project we done so far with an energy company. It was wonderful that we showed and give extra credit and extra input for those big strategical decisions they want to make. That was awesome.
Great. Now, we've talked about the role of influencers already. I want to dig deeper a little bit because this is a really exciting thing as brands tend to engage them to an ever larger extent. And it really makes sense because that's how reach lots of people. Do you have any experience with that? Like whether your clients focus on influencers, whether they really rely on them, and whether they can use them to shape the opinion and their own reputation.
If we are just talking about the Hungarian market or sphere, we can say that basically out there are 20 big social media influencers in Hungary. Let's be honest, on Instagram and Facebook, and everybody wants to work with them to reach 1 or 2 million households or people. This is the top tier of influencers in Hungary. Simple thing. I like the related regulation that now you have to put there a hashtag that emphasizes that this is a paid promotion by a brand. So make it clear that this is a paid promotion. So this is kind of thing. The real influencer thing, I think, when somebody is credible and being an expert of an area or being a part of a community that is important, that one I like the most, because these are like people who can reach a special domain, a niche group, because they are so credible, like the coolest system administrators in Hungary, or let's say the biggest bike fans in Budapest, or etc. So these people, I think, were super important and can be found with social media analysis, like checking what people are talking about, and then drill down and create a risk that these people are publicly talking a lot about the bikes or the development process, for example, or they are football experts, but not part of the big blogs focusing on football. So this way you can find new and fresh faces who are kind of experts, at least they are really focused on the topic, and you can involve them into your communication. Esports, totally new area, and you can find even people who are talking a lot and have a lots of community. I think the sexiest thing when you find somebody who is already a kind of expert of an area, for example, esports, active on forums, active in video channels, and having bigger and bigger community under the videos and in the forum thread. So having able to move and discuss and having a bigger discussion community day by day. Those are, I think, the best people to be involved in a good campaign. The big thing in influencer marketing, to find the relevant and credible person. I think it's more effective, even if they are not reaching 100,000 people and generating 10,000 likes, but they gonna reach and affect and credibly share information about your campaign. And usually the campaigns are not about just sharing the brand. They are more like sharing a message which is related to the brand. So,
and it's actually working, right?
Yeah, and because this is credible, a brand has a message, and the message can be related to some influencers who are credible. And this is not that pushy, not just buy this because it's cheaper 10%, but buy this solution because it has a message what we're supporting, and also others supporting this message. This is, I think, something nicer. And this can be supported with text analysis. So this is where AI comes in, that these people can be both together, and these brand message influencer matchings can be done basically automatically or half automatically with credible data like this.
Right. We've got one last thing to cover, actually, because as we all know, lots of activity takes place on video and image sharing platforms. And I really wonder how you can handle this. Where does text analysis kick in such an environment? How do you deal with this?
Yeah, it's there are two parts. Basically, if a brand, let's talk about brands, because usually we're using the social listening. Some parts they are using special hashtags. So if somebody drinking a bottle of wine, then they're gonna, and it's important what wine they are drinking, then they're gonna use it as a hashtag.
Right.
And hashtag is a text, so it's in the funnel. I think it's not the picture that it's super important in this case, but the hashtag. And then we can move forward to the comments. Okay. Oh, great place you are. Oh, I drink this last week. I bought the same bottle and it was awesome. So then we can go down and analyze the comments and see how many comments there are. Many cases, commenting is the let's say is the highest or the most important part of the engagement. So when you are commenting something, it means you are super engaged, because like is just not a big movement, but writing actually a comment that you are agree or disagree, that is really informative. Even if there are only 5 or 6 comments below some kind of video or a picture, it means that is something that people have opinion about, and let's learn about it, even if it's a sentiment, or if somebody mentioning a competitor product that I like this, but I like that much better, so you should try it. And then the insight gets into back to the product teams. Just an example, or just you should change the label of the wine because it's so ugly, and this is where it comes out easily without. So undirected opinion goes below the video and etc. This is where people can learn and start discussions.
Great. Excellent. I think, unfortunately, that's all for today, because I would love to discuss this whole topic all day long. But I really hope that we're going to have a chance to talk later on. Péter, thank you so much for being us.
Yeah, I was happy to be here and share some thoughts. Thank you.
And thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. And stay tuned for more great content here on AI Studio. Thank you. You listen to AI Studio, a podcast by the Hungarian Artificial Intelligence Coalition, which is the ultimate stakeholder forum of the local AI ecosystem. If you have any comments, ping us via our social media channels, and please help spread the word by sharing our contents. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show, and thanks a lot for listening. We'll be back in our next episode with more great insights on AI.